I'm sure that all of you have seen in the recent past, there were some natural disasters, as one might call. The one that is been getting a lot of attention, of course, is in the US, what's happened in the Texas, Houston area. We can sit far away and sympathize. We can even send some money to Red Cross and stuff like that. But it's not just Houston. In the Indian subcontinent, in Nepal, in India, in Bangladesh, I'm told that over 1,200 people have died in that region because of floods. Houston area, a lot of damage. You must have seen pictures where there was water in the highways all the way up to signal lights. So just imagine that, where up to signal light level there's water. Something like 150,000 homes have been damaged. Major devastation. Obviously, nobody wants that. And people seem helpless. Somebody, maybe this person is there listening right now. Somebody asked me a few days ago or a week ago or something, and said, what can we do? Is there something we can do? And I said, I'll try to address that. I'll try to address that in the next pravachana. So I will try. What I say, what comes out and all that is not in my control, but at least I'll try to give you my perspective on this. Before I do that, I should also mention that in this region where I live, in 1992, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 91 or 92, I think it was 1992, January or something like that, there was a major natural disaster in this region. We had a very bad ice storm. It took more than 2 weeks for people to come to semi-normal. Lot of homes damaged. A lot of people, quite a few people passed away. No power, all kinds of usual things that come with any natural disaster. It's a point to be noted that even though we get some snowfall and all that, that's what happens in this region, ice and snow. We have not had any major natural disaster in a long time, a long time. It's easy for us to look outside, look at this beautiful sunshine and the blue skies and all that, and just take things for granted, One should not wait for something to happen to realize how bad things can be very quickly. It can happen in a day. And all the things we took for granted, all of the things that we thought was stable, if it gets washed away in one day, it can not only cause physical damage and physical problems, but it can cause a lot of mental problems also. Because it's literally like jerking the rug under your feet, right? And you don't know what happened. All of a sudden, something happened, and within a day, everything changed. Just in one day, everything changes. We are very insignificant in the grand scheme, if you look at the universe. And things happen because of collective action, not just what one person does. But if you look at society in general, the question is what is going on around us. Energy comes both from the bhumi, the platform, the earth, whatever you want to, however you want to look at it. And the kind of energy that has been stored there is very dependent on what people have been doing there for a very long time, for a very, very long time. If you look at certain places, there have been good people doing good things for a very long time. And there is that residual energy that is there. And it's like, to use a mathematical thing, it's like integration, right? So every time it integrates over time. So if you've accumulated a lot of good energy, even if you do stupid things and take away from it, the residual energy can still be positive. This is true about a physical place. It is true about families. It is true about a society, right? So, and we are part of all these things. We live in a particular place. We are born in a particular family. We exist in a society, right? So all of these things are affecting us constantly. Where you live, the energy in that place, your surroundings, the people, everything, institutions, people that surround you, and our family, what has been passed on to you. As you know, Sri Krishna said, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paripaste tesham nityabhiktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. And the question we have to ask ourselves, even in those disasters that happen. I was concerned about some of the people we know in the Houston region. I have a student who may be listening right now, I don't know, but she and her family, they live there. And I asked her 2-3 times, are you okay? And she said, yeah, by God's grace, we're totally fine. We're completely fine. I even told her a couple of days ago, they're having a lot of problems with, there are like 100,000 people or whatever, some crazy number, I don't know the exact number, but like in a stadium. Can you imagine, like if they take you to like a convention center or something and some 10,000 people sleeping there and you have to sleep there, and you don't know when you can go home, okay? It's tough, right? It's very tough. You don't know what kind of people are there, what's going on. Some random people give you some random food, you eat that, and it can be very, very unsettling, right? So I told this girl, this lady, I told her, I said, look, we have place in our home and Rochester is far, far away. That's true. But if somebody needs to stay for a couple of weeks or something, our doors are always open. Anybody, if they want to come and stay here, they're welcome. Well, it's so far away, nobody's going to come. But I meant that. I seriously meant that. And even though I knew that nobody will come. The chances are very small because they won't come this far to some stranger's house. But that's all fine. We can do all these things. But we need to think a little bit beyond that, right? We need to think a little. This is reaction. So something happens, we are talking about reaction to what happens. The question is, proactively can we do something to prevent such outcomes? None of us can avoid storms, okay? It's nature. And none of us can say that, I'll do something where it'll always be nice sunny skies like that. No, it's not going to happen. In a few months, the clouds are going to come, it's going to snow here. That's nature, the seasons are there. So if it's hurricane season, it's hurricane season. There's nothing you can do about that. That's how nature is. But what can we do to prevent these disastrous outcomes where a large number of people are negatively affected? Because what happens in that region, if you think about it, they're saying that it may take 10 years or more for them to rebuild. 10 years or more to rebuild. And there's so many families that will be devastated. They'll be traumatized. There's one lady It came in the news, some of you might have seen that. There's one younger woman. She's a mother of a 3-year-old child. Okay. So she was desperately trying to save her child. Right? So what happened was she was carrying that child and trying to go through the water, and she drowned and died. So when the rescuer went there, the child survived. It was clinging to the dead body of the mother, crying. Imagine that. Just imagine that. Imagine what should have gone on in that woman's mind as she desperately trying to take her child and save the child. Right? This is just one case. That is one thing that came in the news. Who knows what will happen to who, we don't know, right? But that we need to feel that. First thing, we need to feel that. It doesn't have to happen to us. You don't have to wait and say, I learn when it happens to me, otherwise I'm not going to learn. You can learn by feeling the other person's suffering, right? As you know, the most famous statement, if you look around, is that if you ask any Christian and say, why are you a Christian? Probably they're going to say, because Jesus Christ took on my sins and my suffering. He made the statement, I'll take over yours, I will suffer for you. Well, it's Karma Siddhanta says that we all have to go through what we have to go through, but whatever. My point is that one has to empathize, because it's more than empathize, that's a stupid word. You have to feel. You actually have to feel. I have to think, if I was a mother, I'll never be a mother, ever. But that's not the point. But at least I can think, suppose I were a mother, suppose. Even though I cannot know exactly how that feels, how should this lady felt when she desperately trying to take her child and save the child when flood waters are coming? Okay. As far as she's concerned, it's pralaya for her, right? For her, that's pralaya, that's her. So she's trying to save her child, right? What can we do? Is there anything we can do at all? And what do the Shastras tell us, right? And I'd like to give you my perspective on that today, right? Whatever, 45 minutes. The first thing is that, why do these things happen? First thing, why does it happen? I can give you two different possible explanations. Okay? The first thing is that, forget about storms and all this, forget about all that, right? Suppose you live in a neighborhood where things are not safe, suppose, right? And irrespective of how much you may shut the door and put locks and whatever, all those things, if there are some bad people in the vicinity, they can come and try to rob you, cause damage, whatever, right? You say, why do these people do that? Well, because it's their nature to do so. That's the reason, right? It's their nature to do that. It is not true that somebody doesn't have something, they'll necessarily come and rob you. There are many poor people who will never ever think of robbing anybody else, okay? So it's not just because they don't have something somebody else has. It is their nature to do, it is their nature to harm, and they're going to do that. That's one possibility, right? And we'll address that in a minute. There's a second possibility, which is that it's actually Devata Shaktis that are causing that. So if you look at what we refer to as Tapatraya, right? Tapatraya, three, right? Adhyatma, Tapa, okay, let's skip that for a second, like inside me. Like things can happen inside me. Okay, let's skip that one and go to the next one. There is Adhibhuta Tapa and Adhidaiva Tapa, right? So if I get Tapa means not necessarily getting fever or something, but suffering. Okay? Why is there all these things, this storm game, all these things, it all falls under that adhibhuta tapa. Right? The panchabhutas, one of the panchabhutas, right? In particular, you can have an earthquake or something, right? It happens. That's another thing. You've seen this, you haven't seen the outcome of that. So something can happen there. Water, you saw that recently. Wind, again, you saw that recently, right? Or some combination thereof. Fire, you see wildfires, right? Where tens of thousands of acres will just get burnt out. Akasha, things can happen in Akasha too, but again, we'll skip that for a second, right? So why do these adhibhuta tapa happen? Well, if you look at those weather people who are showing all those things on the screen when all these hurricanes and all that patterns are happening, you notice two things about those things, right? One, it is circular, right? That storm, it's spinning, it's circular in nature. And the second thing is it is moving, from high pressure region to low pressure region. Do you know why they had that hurricane in Texas? Well, because there's a low pressure in that region, there's a high pressure in the ocean, so it pushed that, and the reason it stood there for 4-5 days, something like that. The only reason they got those 5 days of rain is because there's another high pressure built up on the other side that kept it in place. So that storm came there and it just hung over that place. It couldn't go that side because there's high pressure, and obviously it cannot go back because it's high pressure. If there was low pressure in the ocean, it would have gone there. So many storms happen, like every few days there is a hurricane or there's some storm coming from the ocean. They don't all come and hang over land for 5 days, right? If it did, we'd be in huge trouble. Every few days there'll be something like this, right? It gets veered off. It just goes over the ocean, it doesn't cause any damage at all. We may get a little rain or something, but no big deal, it just keeps moving. So you ask yourself, okay, this low pressure, why is there low pressure in that region? Why is there high pressure pushing things? Well, the high pressure pushing from the ocean to the land, there better be high pressure on the ocean. You know why? Otherwise you won't get any rains at all. If you have to get rain, which of course we all need to survive, right? If water has to fall on us, I'm just talking about the physical thing. I've used this analogy, talked about spiritual things also. I'm just talking about the physical thing, just physical rain falling, right? The water has to evaporate, go up, become clouds, rain-bearing clouds, and it has to come, and that high pressure, low pressure, that is what is supposed to happen. And it is supposed to come, and the rain is supposed to fall on the land. That is not adhibhuta tapa. Adhibhuta tapa is when using that same process, the process is the same. This circular thing keeps moving. By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed it in Houston or not. It came and hit that, then it circled, went into the ocean, picked up more moisture and came back again a second time. It hit a second time, right? That's why there's 5 days of rain. That's why they got like 58 inches of rain or something like that. Some crazy amount of rain in a few days' time. What causes this adhibhuta tapa? Well, my feeling is that there are different ways of, there's a physical low pressure and there's a spiritual low pressure also, in my opinion. The physical low pressure brings the rain, which it is supposed to do. It has to happen, otherwise we won't have rains, okay? See, if it's a drought, we'll say, please let it rain, And if there's no high pressure, low pressure, no rain will come. We're not talking about that. what causes destruction is what we're talking about. That same process causing misery and destruction. So what is it that we're doing to invite destruction and misery on ourselves? We must be doing something, right? Collectively we must be doing something. Because you can have, a storm, some damage in one region, it's going to affect the entire country actually, right? Economy, so many things will happen, right? It's going to distract attention to that thing, right? So what are we doing to create this low pressure to invite not just the adhibhuta, we are talking about adhibhuta tapa is what we are talking about. That suffering. So we must be doing something that's creating a low pressure, that is energy-wise bringing this suffering onto us. And my feeling is that, again, this is my perspective, okay, take it for what it's worth. My feeling is that there's some things that tell us not to do. Creates a problem, okay? Just don't go there, okay? It creates a problem. When things are fine, we fool around, as if it doesn't have any effect. Why? Because, I did something and nothing happened, Look out there, I'm fine, everything is fine. So, this is all theory, nice theory. It's good to listen in some pravachana or something. Say, yeah, nice, very good, all these things, and then leave it at that, right? 3 things in particular, our Shastra tells, never ever go there. Don't even go close to that. One is gohatya, right? Gohatya is not good. And I'm not talking about killing cows. I'll explain that in a second. Gohatya, definitely. Second one, stri hatya, don't go there. But even more important than Brahma hatya, don't do that. They say that there is no prashchitta for these things. You cannot do anything. So, on the way we translate that, this is what we think. Brahma hatya says, okay, don't go kill a Brahmin. Nobody's going to, you're not going to go, So you say, who is the Brahmin? I don't even know who the heck a Brahmin is, but, some fellow wearing some yajnapavita, so yeah, don't kill him. So say, I'm not going to kill anyone. Okay, so, okay, fine. That means I'm not doing Brahma hatya. Says stri hatya. So don't go kill women or slap them around or do random. No, I don't do such things. Okay, I'm not doing. Go hatya. I don't kill any animal. You can forget a cow. So you say, okay, I don't do any of these things. I'm not doing any of these things at all. And therefore, I'm safe. I'm fine. Let's think about it one more second. Let's start with Brahmatya. This is the worst thing you can do. Brahmatya is basically hatya. The thing is that you cannot cause injury to God. How can I do that? I cannot do that, right? Nobody can. But the thing is that what exactly does that mean in this context? It doesn't mean that Brahmatya doesn't mean causing suffering to God. That's not what we're talking about. Brahma, we refer to Chaturmukha Brahma too, right? We also refer to God as Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma. But the thing is, what is Brahma? So something that is big, right? Something much bigger than us. So the first thing you have to ask yourself is, am I doing anything that's going to hurt those things that are bigger than me? Not physically bigger, but spiritually bigger. Am I doing anything at all that will hurt that? A lot of times, knowingly or unknowingly, we may do that. And they say that Brahmatya is, the famous story of Yajnavalkya and all those things, You know how the Shukla Yajurveda came into being, and so that story. Nobody's going to intentionally go to hurt somebody, right? But accidentally you can do that too. Unintentionally you can do that. So our thing is that I need to be aware. I need to be constantly aware that I don't do anything that would hurt those things that are bigger than me, spiritually speaking, right? For one thing, all the Devata Shaktis are there trying to do their thing, but I don't see them. I don't see them, right? But there are those things that are bigger than me that are bringing things to me, right? And a simple example is like you can look at your own guru and say that, am I doing anything to hurt my guru? Even that, I'm not, again, we have a whole parampara, right? But even this one guy, or some random guy who represents that, who personifies that in front of you, he is spiritually bigger than you too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing, otherwise he wouldn't be sitting where he's sitting. Now, someday you may go even above him, it's quite possible. Like give another 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, somebody here may jump up there, depending on the yogyata and all that. But at this point in time, just it so happens at this point in time, where we are, there are those bigger than us, right? Am I doing something that would hurt him? Not physically. Again, you may say that, I'm not going to do that. Why will I go physically hurt him? Not doing that. But the thing is, what is important for him? And above him, and above him, and above him, and so on. So if I do anything at all that would hurt, not physically, but that would in some way impede or cause problems, that is Brahmahatya in my opinion. And there's no prashchitta for that. Now, intentionally none of us will do that, right? I think anybody listening here, I don't think any of us will do that. There's no way any of us will do that, right? At least I don't think so. Not knowingly. But where we can get into problem is not paying attention to that. See, that's where we can get into trouble. That is, we don't think about it. Like I said, everything is fine outside and just keep going, until something terrible happens. And that's So first thing, I was telling you, I think yesterday, that, I don't worry about anything, but I get concerned sometimes. When I look at my guru, he's an elderly man and he's got some physical health issues and constraints and so on. Every time I see him, when he comes here or when I go visit him and all that, the very first thing, it always occurs to me, the first thing, even when I call him, the first thing I ask him is, Acharya, chanagidira? How are you? Because his well-being is important, right? His well-being is important. And that is something that should be in my consciousness, not just asking him. Even if I don't ask him, you don't have to go keep calling and say, Acharya, that's not what but that should be, his well-being should be in my consciousness. Maybe I can do something, maybe I cannot. But definitely I should not do anything that will cause a problem. At the least, I should not do anything to create a problem. Do something that will actually mess him up in some way. At the least. Because for me, at this point in time, he is the personification of that Brahmanta Guruva Sakshata. I'm not going to go and there's nothing I can do to hurt Pranadeva or something like that, right? But whoever is bringing that whole thing in front of me, at the least, I can look at that as that personification. This is the reason, and by the way, some of you have heard this, right? Acharya Madhuro, I think all of you know this, is that in Udupi, that's why they do that, right? When they're doing Samarpana to Sri Krishna, at the same time, they have some Brahmanas, they feed some scholars, okay, at the same time. and also they'll be doing Ahuti and Agni at the same time. And one of the reasons is you're looking at three different representations. It's not just at Krishna idol, but they'll say those Brahmanas, you feed them too, right? So Brahma Hatya basically to me means hurting those things that are bigger than you. That is Brahma, not Bhagavanta, right? We may do this unintentionally. Intentionally, we'll never ever do that, but unintentionally, we may do that. So once in a while, it's worthwhile for me, and I do honestly, I do this, it's worthwhile for me to calibrate myself, I look at things I do and I say, am I doing anything to hurt that entity, that cause, not just one person, but that cause, am I doing anything that actually hurts that? Now, if you don't help, that's fine. But I cannot hurt it. Hatya is actually hurting it. Am I doing anything that actually creates a problem? Okay. Am I hurting that thing? Am I preventing this person from doing what he's supposed to do? Even if you don't help, that's fine. But we cannot do anything that would stop that person, or create a problem, right? That is one thing. Let's talk about Gohatya. Gohatya, again, none of us are going to go kill a cow or something. I hope not. I don't think any of us will even remotely think of doing such things. And again, we are not talking about physically going and... This is the same thing as doing Godana, right? We've done that, right? We went to a matha and said, we want to do Godana. So they said, oh, sure. So there's a cow standing right there. They say, okay. They just dragged the thing and say, put some Varshna Kukma on that thing and say, give some 6,000 rupees or so, 10,000 or whatever. So we gave that money and said, okay, fine. And they did do some arti to the cow and we did that. Whatever. Okay. So that is no more Go Puja than, I'm not going to go hurt that cow. Surely I'm not going to do that. But the thing is, we have to ask ourselves from what is it that I might do unknowingly, again, no, not knowingly, unknowingly, is there something I might do that would actually translate to Gohatya? Well, if you look at it from the spiritual perspective, right? And again, we were just doing this book on Panchamrita and all these things, right? The thing is that milk is actually the knowledge that comes from the Vedas. So Veda Mata, we're not talking about a physical cup, but Veda Mata. In all my action, speech and thought, because we talk to people, right? Some friends come, like this evening, some friends are coming for dinner. So they just come sit. So I say, oh, come on, man. I cannot surely do Gohatya when I'm talking to some friends, eating dinner or something like that. It's not, it doesn't even, the two things don't even, they're like, seems like totally disjointed thing. Because we're all interacting with people. Constantly we're interacting with people. Ask yourself, am I saying or doing anything that is contrary? Am I creating a thought in a person? Like I'm just randomly talking to you about your job or something like that, okay? So I think of it as like, come on, it's just casual conversation with Soham, it doesn't matter. There's nothing, yeah, it is casual conversation, that is true. But the thing is, you could do Gohatya, if you will, if I put thoughts in people through my thought, action or speech, which are contrary to what's in the Vedas. For some reason, just for the thrill of it. We say random things to people, right? And those people may believe that. They may actually believe that. I can, especially young people, if I come sit and say some random thing to you, you'll actually believe that because I'm saying it, right? But I have to be careful. I have to be careful in what I say to people, because if I am putting these seeds in people's minds, which may grow tomorrow, by the way, which is contrary to what's in the Vedas, then I'm hurting. It's like taking milk, good milk, and putting a drop of lemon in that thing. Right? You know tomorrow it's not going to be milk anymore. It's going to get spoiled. So to me, Gohatya is not going and hitting a cow, killing a cow or something like that. It is that act of putting that sour thing which will spoil actually the milk. So I have to be careful. Actually, I have to be careful that I don't add something to, in any situation, in any conversation, anything, where it's going to spoil that thing. It's going to spoil that Vedic knowledge, if you will. Right? And we all try to separate these things, man. This is our biggest problem. That's why I said early on, at the beginning, I said, nobody's going to go hit a cow or hit a woman or, hit a brahmana or something. None of us are going to do that, right? But we don't realize that through our action, speech and thought, even thought is very important. You say, oh, come on, I can't hurt anybody if I think in my mind. Yes, you can. Because your thought in your mind today is the action and speech tomorrow. It will translate to that. You think negative, you're going to say something negative. Or people will know, they'll feel that. They'll feel that. Even if you say nice things, smile, say hello, so how are you? If I have some negative thought in my mind, you'll know that. Definitely you'll know that. You'll say, no, this guy is just saying that, he's not thinking good things about me. Right? That to me is Gohatya. Anything that I'm doing to spoil, not so much hurt, anything that I'm doing to spoil that Vedic milk, if you will, I'm doing Gohatya. Because I'm ruining that milk. So tomorrow nobody can drink that milk. I messed it up. Okay? Strihatya. Again, nobody's going to, at least I hope not. None of us are going to go and hurt any woman. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about, again, any physical person or something like that. But if you look at what a Stri represents, that energy, what it represents, Mata. It is that energy that gives birth to everything in society. It is that energy that takes care of everything. It is that energy that makes us grow. So I have to ask myself, Strihatya is anything that is creating things, giving birth to things, feeding things, taking care of things. That is that energy. Of course, originally come from Mahalakshmi herself, but it, for us it will filter down. It may come through people, I have to ask myself constantly, because we're all human, and let's not forget that, right? We're all human. None of us are perfect. And we're all going to do random things, okay? That's a fact. But I have to constantly calibrate myself and say, I have to ask myself, at the very least, whoever, my wife, my daughter, so the ladies that are around you, the things that I do, is it in their well-being or not? I mean, doing those things that is good for them, not saying nice things to please them or buy some rose or something like that. That's not what I'm talking about. My thought, action and speech. Do I have their well-being at heart or not? Now, I may screw up, I may say some random things and upset people, I may do all those things. But the thing is, bottom line is simply, am I sacrificing things? Am I doing those things for their well-being or not? And at a higher level, in society itself, am I doing those things that will respect, nurture, and protect those energies that are actually giving birth to, taking care in society? I'm talking about energy, not people. Giving birth to things, nurturing things, and so on. Or am I doing anything to hurt that? If you're doing that, that's also Strihatya. Now, collectively, not any individual, But in a society, if we just push all these things out of the window, all these values are out of the window. If we create a society where those values are not even valued, I didn't mean to say that. Anyway, if those values are of no importance to us at all, we don't even think about it, we give it no thought at all, and we just keep randomly doing things. When these three things are done in a society, slowly this is the low pressure region that invites disaster. There's nothing that can be done. You can think of this at a micro level or a macro level. We are talking about macro level, like in an entire society, big place and all. But this is also true inside me. Forget about other people, just inside me this is true. That same disaster can come and hit me too inside. That same hurricane and can hit my heart. I have to ask myself, I cannot just go around blaming all kinds of random people and incidents and situations. I have to ask myself, if there is no sun shining in my heart, if there's a hurricane in my heart, if I'm getting flooded in my heart, if there is no Deva Pushpas falling in my heart, what is causing that? I cannot blame other people or situations. If you look at this a little bit carefully, again, this is my perspective on this, why we invite these things. What we need to do is not, there has to be just enough pressure differential for nice things to come and fall. Right? You want things, right? So there's a difference between creating a quote unquote a low pressure that invites hurricanes, which is what we're talking about, and then using humility. So you say, how do I create the low pressure that invites good things in my heart? Good things. There's always nice little sprinkling rain, the earth smells good and the sun is shining, the plants are all blooming and there's flowers growing. How do I create that? Because even for that, that's a different kind of low pressure. And that low pressure is what I call humility. So when I have that humility, all those things will come. It'll come. No need to be arrogant because today I have something, because tomorrow I may not have that. I tell people this all the time, don't take things for granted. Never ever take things for granted. Be thankful for what you have today. Share it with people. It's Bhagavat Prasada. Share it. And be humble. And you'll get more. You'll get much more. But on the other hand, you become arrogant because you have something today. Tomorrow you're not going to have that. And then you'll sit and cry. What's the point in that? There's no point in that, right? Okay, I have 15 minutes. I want to share with you one other thing, which all of you know the story, of course. Every single one of you know the story. Govardhana Giridhara. So here's the story, right? You know the story, of course, right? So apparently this is what happened. If you read the Bhagavata. So Nanda, this is when Sri Krishna was in the avatara, little boy. Nanda Gopa, all the cowherds, they're sitting around, they're all getting excitedly, getting ready to doing a homa and a puja. So apparently, this is the story. Apparently Krishna comes and says, what are you guys doing? Why all this excitement? What are you getting ready for? They said, we're going to do a homa, we're going to do a puja. That's why you're all getting ready. That's why all this excitement. So, really? What are you worshipping? So, we are going to worship Indra. So, why? So the rains will fall, there will be plenty of grass for our cows to eat. So apparently Shri Krishna says, what are you doing? You don't have to do that. Okay? Do your work properly, do it well, and everything you offer it to Krishna. But that's my paraphrasing. So offer everything to Bhagavanta and you'll be fine. You don't have to do anything for Indra or something like that. So Indra got mad and just like Hurricane Harvey, rain started. So they all appealed to Sri Krishna, and Sri Krishna lifted the mountain on his one finger, and they all went underneath the mountain. They were protected, and Indra, you know the story. So Indra said he repented. He saw that, he repented, and he stopped the thing, asked Krishna for forgiveness, and everybody was happy. So after that, you can just name a bunch of boys as Govardhan and all these things. Okay, be done with that. Giridhar, Govardhan. That's what I said. Nice story, huh? Very nice story. Krishna standing with that. What does it mean? I don't know how many of us have actually thought about it seriously, that story. It all sounds very romantic, you know. Any story from Krishna Avatar, Putani, but in particular this one, because it relates to rain and protection and lifting mountain. Come on, man. Krishna didn't have to. What do you mean lift it? So what did Krishna do? He went to some mountain and said, oh, there is a mountain. So Krishna needs a mountain to protect people? Krishna just had to look at that thing and all the rain would have stopped. Right? So what is this thing about lifting a mountain? Why did he lift a mountain? I mean, practically speaking, that doesn't even make sense. You know, how can you cut off a mountain and lift it with one finger and everybody goes underneath the mountain? If you pay attention to this thing, see, here's the problem. Right? Who is Indra? Devendra, who is he? Well, for all the indriyas that we have, karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, he's the boss, right? In the hand. So, if we do puja, it's not that, I mean, come on, I sit when I do home, every time you've seen that I say Indra Swaha, Indra Idan Namama, you know, so it's not that you should not worship Indra. That's not the moral of the story at all. Of course we have to worship all Devata Shaktis. Of course we have to give them offerings. But for what? For me to think that for whatever I do, this Indra Abhimani Devatas, right? That is, whatever I do, think, speak, hear, touch, smell, taste, whatever, wherever I go, whatever I do, if my worship, my offering, worship andre not putting some flower and doing arti, my offering, whatever I offer, you say, why are you offering that to who? I say, I'm offering these things so that I will get back, through those indriyas, I'll get back what I need. Does it make sense? In other words, whatever I offer, again, I'm not talking about a puja or a homa. In life, every day, whatever I do. So why are you doing this? Suppose I ask you, why are you working in that company in Buffalo? Or whatever, depending on, okay, I want to look. See, this is the problem. If you sit right in front of me, I'll focus. So, that's okay. But whatever we do, I was telling in the chapel yesterday, right? So, if I go teach a class in RIT, why are you doing that? If it is only for thinking that my offering is to those things that will give me back those things, that will allow me to experience something through the karmendriyas or the jnanendriyas. Krishna, no, don't do that. What are you talking about? Don't do that. Well, what happens is, that if you say, okay, so I won't do that, I will not do that, okay? What I will do is every single thing that I do is Krishnarpana. Sincerely, not just saying Krishnarpana Mastu, but sincerely it is Krishnarpana. It is an offering to Bhagavanta. He says, if you do that, your things will be taken care of, man. Don't worry about it. But what happens is, as you start doing that, there is a torrential rain. See, the thing is that my own mind, everything was like, oh, come on. Can't do that. I have to enjoy myself. Don't you know that? I have to do things. I have to go there. I have to taste this. I have to eat this. I have to smell that. I have to touch this. In your mind, there is this torrential flooding, if you will, trying to take you away from that thing. But Shri Krishna says, don't worry. I will give you protection. I'll give you protection. You can come underneath this Govardhanagiri. What Govardhanagiri? What does a giri, what does a mountain do? What is a mountain? Well, the bhumi, it allows you to climb to a height, right? You can look at it from a height. That Krishna could have just taken some land and lifted that. Why did he lift a mountain? Govardhanagiri. Govardhanagiri. So what is this mountain? That's Govardhana, man. It is that which provides a land for the cows to be well. So I says, I'll do one thing for you. I will take this thing which has the ability to take you to greater heights. And what does it do? It's Govardhana. Something that will protect Gomata. Something that will feed Gomata. So your protection, your basic protection underneath can go, and you don't have to worry about any of this torrential flooding in your mind, is Govardhana. Something that will elevate, that can elevate you to a greater height, and not only that, that's something that can feed that Vedamata, and it will grow. So one way I can avoid all these things, I don't even have to worry. If you're underneath Govardhanagiri, and Sri Krishna is, and for him it's Leela, man. They show it as like he lifted with one finger. For him it's nothing. He says, what? No big deal. What's your problem? I just learned one finger. So Sri Krishna, and they show that one finger because it is his Leela. It's so easy for him. It's nothing for him. It's nothing for him. It is so easy for him to provide you that protection. And that protection of that entity which can take you to great heights and that can feed Vedamata. Because he is the Veda Purusha. For the Veda Purusha to lift that thing is nothing. It's nothing for him. And that's why he says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paripaste tesham nityaviktanam yogakshemam mahamyam. That is how it gives you the kshema. Yoga and the kshema. Yoga because it is Govardhana. Kshema because it is a giri. So it will take you to great heights. It will take you to much bigger heights. He's not going to stretch you. Okay, you are whatever height you are. If you want to get a good perspective, Krishna can take you and like elastic band, so stretch your height, the jiva is jiva, right? See, this is the thing people say, I'm a small person, I don't know anything, that's not the point. Your perspective is not based upon your height. It's based upon where you are standing. Adalva? It's the height at which you are standing. How tall can you grow, man? 7 feet maybe? So if you're standing on the earth, at best your perspective, at best, can be 7 feet. But if you're standing on a Govardhanagiri, that's 10,000 foot high. Even if you are a 4-foot midget, your perspective is 10,000 plus 4 feet. Right? So Sri Krishna says, I will provide you that opportunity to climb and go to that height that will take care of, it will automatically take care of the the cow, the Vedamata. It'll all be fine. It'll all be fine. You'll get plenty of milk. You'll get plenty of Vedic knowledge. I will provide you that thing, and you just take refuge underneath that thing and offer everything to me. Ananyas chintayanto mam. Offer everything to me. Don't worry. I'll provide you that protection. So if you really live that life, Ananya. Krishna said chintayantam. He says Ananyas chintayantam. Ananya. So if I truly, honestly, I'm totally absorbed in that. I'm soaked in that thing. I'm always underneath that Govardhanagiri. Because Govardhanagiri Dhara is standing there. So that way you can prevent everything. If people in society, not everybody, but even if one person here, one person there, all you need is a handful of people, just a handful of people. Always reminds me of this famous Kannada, I think those of you who know Kannada, yo papa, ಸದ್ಯ ನಮ್ಮ ಪುಣ್ಯ ಅವ್ರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಈ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಅವರಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮಳೆ ಬೆಳೆ ಅಪ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. People used to say that. Now, I don't know, maybe nobody says those things anymore. But I remember when I was a kid, some good man be in society that always says Namaskara sir. And that person usually was not the richest person actually he was usually not a very well-to-do person. But that person would be known as a very good person doing very good things. Right? And people always, in those days, they would show a lot of respect. ಸದ್ಯ ಅವ್ರು ಇದ್ದಾರಪ್ಪ ಅವ್ರು ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಳೆ ಬೆಳೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ. So all you need is a few people. That's all you need in a society. Everybody will never ever do that. But those of us who just claim that we want to be on this path of Adhyatma, we need to become those beacons of light. We need to be those people in society. It's tough. You know why it's tough? Because everybody else tells you you're an idiot. They'll say you're an idiot for living like this. So look at me, I have much more money. Look at me, I have more of this. Look at me, I have this, that and the other. And you're saying, yeah, that's true, man. All these people have so much, Look at me, I've lived all this life. What do I have to show? You have plenty of to show. My claim is this. Are you under Govardhanagiri or not? Do you have torrential things falling in your life, flooding you? Are you scared? Are you worried? I'm not. Any day, I would rather stand under that Govardhanagiri and bow down to Krishna and say, hey Bhagavan, I don't care what you give me, don't give me. I don't care. I just don't care. But one thing I always ask, please don't push me out of that thing into that torrential rain. Protect me. Protect me from that. Because things are going to fall. But protect me from that. And then, truly, that shloka from Bhagavad Gita will be true. And we can experience that in our own lives, surely. And if we do, we cannot again go back and start doing Brahma Hatya, Sri Hatya and Go Hatya. And if we can all do that, no Harvey, no Irma, nobody, everything will be fine. Samaja will be fine. Society will be fine. Will the whole society come and give you credit for doing that? No. No. Will they even believe that? No. Will they accept that? No. Will they give you all kinds of awards and all these things? No. Does it matter? No. Because Sri Krishna is there. Krishna Arpanamastu.